G'day Gorgeous, I so appreciate you tuning in today to the podcast that empowers women for financial independence and business life success. And of course, if you're brand new to this podcast, and I want to say welcome, I do appreciate you tuning in. This week's podcast is a very, very good question around self-criticism. And the question is, Amanda, how do I deal with external criticism, which turns to internal criticism, because it's really making me upset and I continually beat myself up with the self-toxic talk? Please help me. Well, I cannot say that I have not been in that space. In fact, I wrote a whole book about the very, very subject. So tune in today and I hope you have your journal, because the Gday Gorgeous podcast is where you're going to get raw, real, and very relatable stories and answers and guidance and proven formulas that can help you overcome your frustrations and live a life that you truly love every single day, no matter your background. I'm Amanda Jane Clarkson. I'm a best-selling author. I'm an inspirational speaker, an entrepreneur, and a trained DeMartini method facilitator, and a world-leading financial independence and business success coach for the entrepreneurial woman who wants to release her inner millionairess. And hopefully that is you, or millionaire if you are a guy watching in today. And to find out how I can help you gain the clarity, the inspiration, the confidence and the certainty to design and live your dream life too, please visit me at gdaygorgeous.com or simply click the link in the notes below. And of course, as I said, make sure you have your journal, a nice cup of tea, because I am going to share some incredible insights and learnings for you right now. Let's jump into it. Good morning, gorgeous butterflies. I'll give you a moment to jump on and join me for today's podcast, which I am very much looking forward to presenting on a topic that is hot, hot, hot. Looking forward to today's podcast. I've got some gold. Hope you have got your journal, ladies. You're absolutely going to need it today. So I'm going to get into it because this one's going to be probably about a 40-minute one, but I think it is worth the time spending, because this subject, criticism, we all have it in our life in some form or another. Internal criticism, external criticism. The question is, how do we deal with it? And I don't think there's a woman or even a guy out there who doesn't have this stuff going on. Problems, issues, whatever you want to call it. Self-toxic talk, external toxic talk or criticism. For some people, it's a minefield of how to deal with it on a daily basis. So the question that came in from one of you, I'm just going to read it out, is, Amanda, how do we deal with criticism from others and not let it be so damaging? When I get criticized, I feel down and I cannot stop the rampage of self-toxic talk afterwards. So give me a symbol, girls, if you have this going on as well. You don't know how to deal with external criticism. Then when you get external criticism, and we all do, then you start to internally beat yourself up, and external criticism often turns to internal criticism. So give me a sign if you've had plenty of that in your life, because absolutely, I don't think, as I said, there's a person out there that doesn't have that going on. And so today what I want to cover is the first letter in our Live Now formula, under love and let go, which follows on perfectly from last week's podcast. If you haven't listened to it, I urge you. It was more of a story last week, the high school wallflower to millionairess, how she did it. And, this is a perfect follow on from that particular story, because that story came from external and internal criticism and the dialogue that she needed to break away from to go out and live her best life. So today what I want to cover is a little bit about my story, a little bit about all of my education and teachings, especially now. I have a much deeper, the stuff I want to share today is based on a lot of the DeMartini method. As I have said in numerous times, I am a trained DeMartini facilitator. However, how I'm going to explain this today might shed some light. It's from experience, and it's not just an opinion. It is all based on human empowerment, human behavior, but it might shed some light and hopefully some relief for you if you are suffering from this as well. And I've said this a number of times, and I'm going to keep saying it, and I think it's very relevant to write it in your journal. Go to a page, and it could be, my fabulous aha moments and pearls of wisdom, because these 3 things really help set me free from the constant worry about what other people thought about me. And the 3 things that I say is that we can only control our perceptions, our decisions, and our actions. And unless we grasp that concept, begin to live by that concept, we will forever be back and forth, the push and the pull, the push and the pull, and allowing our emotions to run our life instead of us running and controlling our inner emotions. Because here's the thing. Every single human being on this planet has a set of internal values. I'm not talking external from, conformity out there in society. I'm talking internal values. What is most important and what is most meaningful for each individual, and that's unique. And we all have a set of values. Now, sometimes what happens in society is that if you are a person who chooses to shine your light, step up, and actually live according to your own values, and that is what's important for you, what's meaningful for you, other people don't like it. I've had so much of this in my own life. Sorry, I'm choking. I need a little cup of tea. I hope you got a cup of tea there, ladies. Other people don't like it. And what happens is, because they have their own set of values, their own ideals, their own ideas about life, sometimes if you don't match, they may externally criticize you. Now, when you get criticized, there's just a couple of things that you can do. So you've got to make that decision of conforming to their ideals or their ideas or their values, or step into your own empowerment and choose to go on your own path. And that is the difficult thing, because what happens is, if you want to live according to your own values and yet you subordinate to other people, you live according to their values, what happens is you begin to beat yourself up internally. Now, give me a sign if you've ever experienced that, where you're bending and weaving and ducking and diving and, sometimes even walking on eggshells to please other people, do what others want, and inside you're beating yourself up because that's not where your heart is. That's not what you're meant to do in your life. That it just doesn't feel right for you. Has anyone ever had that experience? Because I know I'm not alone in this, and this is why I like to share, my stories, because the thing is, the key is to be aware of it, but then how do you break through? You've got to, make that decision of, well, am I going to stay like this forever? Am I going to beat myself up? Because it's a definition of going mad, trying to appease other people, trying to appease yourself, and you're constantly pushing and pulling against yourself. If you don't learn to have control over yourself, control over your emotions, then other people will. And I want to give you a little example, and it's one of my mentors, Dr. John DeMartini, said to us once, and most of you know I've been on the stage sharing presentations and speaking for the last 15 years, since 2007 actually even before that, 2002 I think I started. But I once made a decision based on external criticism that I didn't want to be a speaker anymore. Because somebody had told my husband, who was also a speaker at the time with me, that he was really bad and that he should never ever get on stage again. And that only Amanda should get on stage because she was better. And so I had made a decision based on external criticism that I never wanted to get back on stage and share my message with people. We were talking in front of thousands of people. It was a wealth creation seminars, because someone had said my husband was really bad and I didn't want to travel around Australia or America by myself. And so I'm standing on the side of the stage this time, and it was back in 2007, and Dr. John Demartini was on stage sharing his message, and I was the next speaker. So I was kind of lined up at the side of the stage. And right at the end of his presentation, he left the crowd with one message. And his message was this: when the voices and the opinions on the inside become louder than the voices and the opinions on the outside, you've truly begun to master your life. Now here I am standing on the side of the stage, and that was going to be my last ever public presentation. And as he said that statement, I remember looking up into the crowd where my husband was sitting, watching me speak, about to watch me speak, and we sort of locked eyes. And in that moment, he just nodded his head, and there were hundreds of people in the stadium, probably about 500 or 600 people in the stadium at the time. But he nodded, and that was his communication to me to say, that's it. I'm not going to listen to the criticism. I'm going to stand beside you on the stage, and we're going to get out there and share the message. Because the thing is this, I don't know what you want to do with your life, and I know you have your own unique gifts and talents that you would love to share with the world. But in that moment, I made a decision to listen to the voices and the opinions on the inside rather than the criticism on the outside, and step into my power, do whatever it took to get a message to others, because the message was bigger than me. The message was more important than my ego and my emotions. So I hope you're taking notes here, because it was my ego and my emotional state that was going to hold me back. And I made a decision then and there, and so did my husband, that we were going to become empowered, overcome those emotions that were going to keep us small and ineffective in life, to step into who we are, step up and step into living according to our own values. The result from that was, we've still been speaking now, and it's the year, at the end of 2019, and we're still speaking and still sharing the message. And the cause now, or the movement that I want to create, is much, much, much bigger than ever I thought would be possible. And we affected tens of thousands of people. We helped people become millionaires, multimillionaires, be free of the life that they didn't want, leave the job they didn't like, be able to go on holidays, pay off their mortgages, have a better lifestyle than they ever imagined through teaching wealth creation on the internet. And so we helped so many people. So as you can see, that sometimes when you listen to the inner voices more than the external criticism, there's something bigger inside. There's something bigger inside of you waiting to come out. And therein lies that moment in time where you make the decision, do I stay small and let the external criticism rule my life and my emotions and my ego, or do I become empowered and step up and into the light? Because we all have a light to shine. We're all on this planet with unique gifts and talents to share with the world, share with our family, share with the community, share with our country, and maybe even on a global basis, depending on what's important and meaningful for you. And so these are the things that we needed to think about. And here's another saying that I really love, and I think it's definitely worth writing down in your journal, girls. Heaven and hell are mental states of gratitude and ingratitude. And so what we did, we had we still have a daily practice right now where we're constantly writing out and saying what we are grateful for, what we want to achieve in our life, how we're going to make a difference in other people's lives, help other people get what they want, so in turn we get what we want. And so it's the perceptions, and that's the thing I want to go back to. That's all we can control, is our perceptions in life. And if you ever feel like you're living hell on earth, you've got to ask yourself, am I being ungrateful? Well, it's ingratitude. And so I really, really make a practice of saying it out loud, writing down all the things that I'm grateful for, because it changes your state, it changes your way of thinking, it changes your perceptions and the way you see the world. And here are the 4 things that I live by when it comes to criticism. And I'm going to share another little story of the truth in a moment about human behavior and why that, this is normal, this is everyday life. And I think I'm one of these mentors that I don't mind saying, life is not one-sided. I know a lot of people out there teach just the one-sided, just be happy, and why can't everyone just be happy, and why can't the world just be perfect? It's just not the way the universe is. The universe is in perfect balance. The universe is in perfect order. It's not, as Esther Hicks says, or Abraham Hicks, it's not our job to fix the universe. It is perfect the way it is. It's our job to shine our light, share our gifts. And so here's the 4 things that I live by. And I learnt this a very, very long time ago when I was studying to become a personal trainer. First thing, what others say about us, or myself or you, what others say about you is none of our goddamn business. So when somebody else has an opinion about me or they want to criticize me, it's not my business, it's their perception. And I know that's easier said than done. And I know that we all have our feelings and our feelings can get hurt. But here's what I do know. If I didn't live by this rule, this is my own rule, that what others say about me is not my business, I would never have had the courage to stand on stage and keep sharing a message, because I get criticized all the time for what I do, as we all do when we step up into the light. And especially in Australia, and I'll say this, I know a lot of people watching this will be in America and all over different countries of the world. Australia is known to have a society of the tall poppy syndrome, where if you stand up, share your talent, share your gifts, put the light on yourself a little bit, people can't wait to pull you down. And that's because you're shining a light on them. Or they may think, oh my God, I don't want you to stand up. I want to pull you back down because that makes me feel good. I don't want you to shine too brightly because that makes me feel unworthy. It makes me feel like I'm not shining my light. So let's pull you down instead of me standing up. So that's my number 1 thing. My second thing, that this is another quote from another mentor. Here, and this is gold, girls. Write this down in your journal. This is gold. Take no credit, take no blame, keep your eye on chief aim. That is perfect. Take no credit, take no blame, keep your eye on chief aim. Now, your chief aim are your goals and your dreams. What's important for you, what's meaningful for you is all you need to focus on. The rest takes care of itself. So when somebody criticizes, I don't take any blame for it. I just understand that 50% of people are going to like me, 50% of people are not going to like me. It is a world of balance and challenge and support, ups and downs, highs and lows, war and peace. This is life. And the minute that I get all manic and try and want everybody to like me, then I don't stand for anything, because that would mean I'd have to stay really small and please other people. And it's just not possible, is it? I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, and I'd love a comment. And, certainly anyone watching me that has never seen me before might be thinking, oh, what's this girl on? She is crazy, But there is just not one side of life. There's too much evidence. There's too much, I don't know about you, but I would challenge you, if you thought there were one side of life, that you're always mean without being kind, always kind without being mean, always up without being down. Is there one side of life for you? Because I know for me, there's no such thing. The number 3 thing that I love to live by is, who are you allowing to live in your head rent-free? So with outside or external criticism, then the more you focus on that, fester on that, those people are living in your head rent-free, because they're taking up time and space. Where I ask myself is, That's their perception. They have a perception or an opinion, and that's theirs. It's not really my business. But the more I dwell on it, the more I think about it, the more I get myself upset, beat myself up because I'm not living according to their values. I'm living according to my values. They're taking up rent in my head and they're not even paying for it. So I really try, this is my thing that I love to do, I see how fast I can delete the thinking. I am like everybody else. I have my up days and my down days and everything in between days, but I really try and stay consciously aware that this person that I have perceived as criticizing me, it's only my perception, isn't it? Of course, in their mind, they might not have criticized me. It's all perception. But I don't want them taking up free rent when I could be focusing on my bigger cause, helping people get what they want in life, doing these sort of things, writing different programs, writing my podcast. I ask myself constantly, what are you focusing on, Amanda? Something that you cannot control or something that you can control? And then the fourth thing, I ask this question all the time to myself, and you can ask this for yourself. Who is more important? You and your mission, you and your goals, you and your dreams, you and your family, or other people's opinions. Now, most people live their life thinking and worrying about what everybody else thinks about them, keeping up with the Joneses. But if you're listening to this podcast, I don't believe that is you. And so they're my four things. I'm thinking to myself, well, who's more important? Me. Because I have a role that I want to play in society. I am going to stand up, and I don't mind the criticism, because the frustration that we feel is wanting that one side of life, wanting the kindness without the meanness, wanting the ups without the downs, and that in itself causes mental anguish. And so I learned a long time ago that there is no such thing as a one-sided life, and it comes down to acceptance. Comes down to understanding that each and every person has their own values, has their own perceptions, and I have mine, and that's just what it is. Because here's what I do know. I remember, I'll share a quick story with you from being on stage, and this is the perfect analogy for you. We started speaking big time from 2007. We were traveling the country, 47 weekends a year we would speak in front of crowds of a few hundred people up to 5,000 people. I can share with you that every single seminar that we did, and then we'd put on 3-day events, that I could feel it in the room, because you can feel people's energy. 50% of the room would absolutely love the way that I was, out there. I would, bounce around and, I'm enthusiastic, and, that's just my energy, a little bit of high energy, a bit like a Tony Robbins, but a version of Tony Robbins, I call myself. And then 50% of the people couldn't stand my personality. They would say, she's obnoxious, she's loud, I don't like Amanda, she's too rah-rah. And then 50% would go, oh my God, I just love your energy, you're so inspiring, you're so enthusiastic. That's the natural balance. That's the natural order. And so I realized that I couldn't control people's perceptions. All I could control was myself. Be myself. This is the missing key. This is the link. The golden key is to be your authentic self. And at the end of the day, when I was speaking, I would just say to myself, did I do the very best I could with everything I had? Did I give from my heart? Did I give from my soul? Did I try and make a difference? Or did I not? Didn't try. Did I make a difference? Did I turn the lights on for somebody? And instead of getting myself all beat up with the criticism that I could feel in the room, and people would come and tell me that they didn't like the way I presented, or I was too rah-rah, or I was too loud, too boisterous, too opinionated. This is normal. But I would ask myself, well, whose life did I change today? Whose life did I help impact? Did I see the lights go on for somebody in the room? And if the answer was yes, that's what I would do, ladies. I was always trying to compare my actions with my outcomes instead of worrying about what everybody else thought about me, because it will send you absolutely nuts. And if you're in that limelight, you're on stage, that is the perfect place to feel the criticism, because I can assure you, you get it. People visually, verbally criticize you. It is just a way of life. Yes, it does feel uncomfortable, but this is the thing that I love to talk about, of becoming empowered, learning to control your emotions. And I'm talking in 7 areas of life, empower 7 areas of life, because if you don't empower the 7 areas of life, somebody else will overpower them. And that's where the internal or the self-toxic talk comes from. And I know we all have it going on. I still have it going on to this day. However, I have a tight rein on it, and I have rules around that, my 17-second rule, and constantly asking myself, how can you make a difference today? Every time I start to beat myself up, I don't feel good enough, or somebody else on the outside is suggesting that they don't like the way I am, they don't like the way I'm performing, they don't like the way I'm speaking, they don't like the way I'm looking, they don't like the work I'm doing, or whatever it is. I just keep going back to my question. How can I make a difference today? How can I make somebody shine? How can I make somebody smile? How can I share something of my knowledge that will inspire somebody else to step into their light? They're the questions that I ask myself. And so one of the things I learned many, many years ago is the more that I get inside my own head and beat myself up internally, then I'm focusing on me, not others. And so this is why I say to you girls being in my group and people watching this podcast or listening to this podcast is, when you have a cause or something that you're focusing on that is bigger than you, that is the only time you can ever get over yourself. And so when you're dealing with this external criticism and internal criticism and this conflict back and forth, ask yourself the question, have I got anything else to focus on? What's bigger than me and my problems that I can focus on? Because the minute you start to focus on something bigger, this criticism that you might be getting externally and the self-criticism dissolves. And that's why I'm constantly focusing on my work. And I would say to you, never shrink away from it. Keep shining, keep growing, because that's what we're here to do. Every single human being on this planet has a gift, has a talent, and your gift and talent might be in the form of your family, bringing up a beautiful family. It might be in the way of your vocation, that is the work that you do, your career. You might be an intrapreneur or an entrepreneur. It might be in the form of creating. It might be in the form of singing, drawing, communicating, teaching other people, sharing, whatever that is for you. But it's all perfect. And if you focus on that more than you focus on your problems, you will see that you have less time and less self-toxic talk going on. And I'm saying that from my heart and with so much experience, because being on stage, as we have, being in the limelight at times, and being in the public, not necessarily the limelight, but being in the public, that is the place, especially in the seminar world, where you can really see firsthand the perfect balance of life. You cannot expect everyone to agree with you, everyone to like you. Just allow them to have their opinions and you have yours, perceptions. And here's what I know. Every one of us just want to be loved and appreciated for who we are. Now, girls, give me a symbol if you agree with that. Who listening to this just wants to be appreciated and loved for who you are internally, who you are authentically? And I think that is the really big lesson. And so, as I say, here come the love hearts. We all do, don't we? Got a couple more little messages before I wrap up my little rampage today, girls. This is a good one because, my whole book here, my Frustrated to Fabulous book, which I know most of you have read, and if you haven't, get yourself a copy from the website. This whole book was written from a place of growing up with so much self-toxic talk going on, battling external criticism. Last week's podcast, that's why I called it, the high school wallflower to millionairess, how she did it. The whole book is based on this, and I've spent a lifetime studying human behavior, working with dozens and dozens and dozens of mentors, thousands of hours of classroom time, understanding human behavior and working through that. And the day that I got that message from DeMartini in 2007, when the voices and the opinions on the inside become louder than those on the outside, you've mastered your life. You have mastered the external criticism, fighting the internal criticism. The message is be yourself. And so I'm going to leave you with some golden advice, ladies. Write it down in your journal. The thing that you've got to focus on every single day of your life is comparing yourself to your daily actions and the goals that you have set for yourself. Nothing else and nobody else. Easier said than done when you've got people all around you trying to push and pull you, tell you what's right for you, trying to get you to live under their set of values. I understand this. But if you learn just to compare yourself to your own set of goals, and that's why I continually get on about having a diary, setting your intentions for the month, setting your intentions for each week of the month, setting your daily intentions. It is damn hard to pull you off track. It's damn hard to focus on external criticism, and it's even harder to continually beat yourself up, because when you are living according to your own meaningful and important intentions, goals, dreams, aspirations, you won't be beating yourself up. The self-toxic talk comes from no control. And I really, really hope that you're taking this message in, because, my hope is that you are the captain or the captainess. Is there any such word? It can be our word, girls. Captainess of your own ship. You want to be the millionairess of your own life, be the captainess of your ship. And if you want to dissolve a damn big chunk of that self-toxic talk that goes on and on and on, get yourself organized and compare your daily actions to what's important for you, and stop worrying about everybody else. What else would I say? Control. There's only one thing you control, ladies: yourself. Your perceptions, your decisions, and your actions. And they're the three things I live by. Perceive. How you perceive the world. You've only got to worry about how you're perceiving yourself and what difference you're making in your family, your community, and to the world. Stand up and shine. And as I said, empower the 7 areas of your life. Now I'm talking love, health, your relationships with self and others, your money, your vocation, your personal empowerment, which is what we live for, and your happiness level. The 7 areas of life, the wheel of life. Women are different than guys. Women, we want more balance. We need more balance. We're a little bit more emotional than guys. We can't just block everything off and put it into boxes like guys have the ability to do. Women are different. We are trying to be everything for everyone. Mothers, lovers, teachers, doing our work, taking care of homes. There is 1,000 things on our list, ladies, and that's why I'm so enthusiastic about empowering the 7 areas, and it will help dissolve that self-toxic talk, that inner criticism, and you will hear the noise less on the outside. And I think, one of the biggest things is, I'm probably speaking to the public now because you girls are in the tribe. You need a tribe. We all need a tribe. I need a tribe. Stick with the tribe of people or your mastermind, your community, just like we have here in this one, because the road is long. The road sometimes is hard. You won't see the potholes. You won't see them coming. You won't feel the criticism coming. And the criticism often comes from those you least expect, from those you love the most, from those you admire the most. And that is the way life is. And that is the when you have that challenge and the support at that time, the support from your mastermind, the support from your tribe, and the challenge from outside influence, it's in those moments that you grow the most. It is in those moments that you make the decision to step up and just be yourself. It's in those moments you make different decisions because you can. And therefore you have a different result. That's why this mastermind group that we have, this community, is so vitally important for you to live your best life. And if you're listening to this and watching this, find your community, be part of our tribe. But you know, never have I been without my community, because there's no way I'd be sitting on this chair sharing my love, sharing my message, sharing my light with you without the right people around me who believe in me. And so many of you in my community, I just want to give you ladies a shout out. There are so many days, and this is the truth, so many days that I want to quit on what I'm doing, because I have my criticism. I have my criticizers from the outside. Is that even a word? Probably not. People criticizing me, internal criticism. And without you ladies in my mastermind community, I might have thrown in the towel many times. And so it's not just one way here. We all lean in for each other's strength and support and cheering each other's on. And that's the thing, you know, as I said, in Australia, we do have this thing called the tall poppy syndrome. But if you find your right tribe, you will find the courage to step in and keep going. And that's what it takes. You know, I talked a lot about courage. It takes courage to be authentic. It takes courage to live an authentic life. It takes courage to shine your light. It takes courage to step into your power and still be feminine. And it takes courage to be that beacon of light for others. But, you know, I put it out there and I challenge everyone, you know, if it's possible for a, you know, small-time wallflower from Tasmania to keep going and push through, it's possible for anyone. But it could not be possible without the mastermind and the personal empowerment of empowering the 7 areas of life. Final words I want to say about this. Each and every one of you listening, watching, you have been chosen. You have been chosen to shine your light, to share your gifts and your talents with others. You have been chosen, you, to make an impact, to make a difference. And it begins and ends with you. It begins with you, first of all, of self-love, overflowing into your family, your community, your city, maybe your country, and for some of us, even on a global expansion. And it is your God-given right to be successful and to share those gifts and talents with others. Because here's the truth. Nobody wakes up in the morning and wants to shrink. Who would agree with that? Not one of you watching this or listening to this wants to wake up and shrink. Nobody wants to go down into that well of darkness, to be pulled down by others, to allow that external criticism to pull you down and be small. Nobody wakes up wanting to be that person. But yet many do. Many allow themselves to be pulled down. Not you. You have been chosen. So get out there, shine your light, be authentic, be yourself, and learn to love yourself enough to not allow that external criticism to rule your life. Allow them to be them, but you become empowered and understand that you are here for a purpose and you are living your purpose. Ladies, I see you and I believe in you 100%. You know, I don't have to say anymore. You know that you have a message to share of love and appreciation for whoever that is in your life. Stick to your values, stick to your intentions, and never, ever, ever let external criticism pull you off track. That wraps up today's podcast. I hope you ladies enjoyed that. That was a little rampage, but I wanted to share that, after being through it so many times, writing a freaking book about it. I could sit here for a long time talking about internal criticism and external criticism. Love and let go. Love and let go. The live now formula, ladies. Just let the past go. Live in the now while we create a magical new chapter of our life. I hope you really enjoyed that, ladies. I really appreciate you joining me. There's quite a few of you on here. And if you have any questions, any comments, please share them. It really helps me and helps others. And don't forget, ladies, your burning questions. We all have stuff going on in our life. We would love questions and insights too, based on experience, based on human development and empowerment. Send them in to support@gdaygorgeous.com. And of course, your name will always be changed for privacy. But, this helps me write good content. And I appreciate you very much. And the questions that you send in are brilliant. And so, ladies, I will see you in a rampage early next week inside this community. Keep the ahas coming. Keep the sharing coming. I love all of you and have a beautiful weekend. It is stunning here on the Gold Coast in Australia, wherever you're watching and listening from. Thank you. A big cyber hug and kisses as always. Love each and every one of you, and I will see you next week. I love the hugs and the kisses. I'm a tart. I love heart tart. I love heart tart. Yeah. If you're watching this from the outside, yes, I love heart tart. The girls send me love hearts on the telephone here because this is a live podcast and I love getting all the love hearts. There you go. That is a selfish thing for me, isn't it? But I do love it. Thank you, ladies. You make my day. You make me smile. You make me want to be a better mentor each and every day. Okay, gorgeous. That wraps up today's podcast. Till next week, I really appreciate you tuning into this podcast that empowers women for financial independence and business success. And as you can tell, a whole lot more, because we do talk about the 7 areas of life. And if you did like this episode, and I'm pretty sure you would have got plenty of gold today, please, I would be super grateful if you take 30 seconds and leave me a review. But more importantly, pay this forward. Help me get this message out there by sharing this podcast with your family, friends, daughters, sisters, friends. Anyone that you know would greatly benefit from these golden life nuggets that really do make a big difference. Again, to find out more about my coaching, different women in our community, my story, different books and journals, please visit me at gdaygorgeous.com. And until next week, be bold, be courageous, and even more fabulous. Bye for now.